Yummy.
Welcome to another Famous Friday. I believe whatever goal you have, whatever obstacles in front of you, the easiest way to accomplish it is to model success. Find someone who's already overcome that problem, apply their strategies to make it work for you. So today's lesson is from Chris Gardner, who went from being a homeless man to being a multimillionaire. And his lesson is, don't quit. So Chris Gardner, he had everything stacked against him when he was growing up. He didn't know who his father was. He was in and out of foster homes because his mother was in and out of prison. She had tried to set fire to her house with Chris Gardner's stepfather inside, and so she was arrested for it. Chris Gardner didn't have any positive male role models growing up, and so he bounced from foster home to foster home to foster home. He experimented in drugs and alcohol. He had every reason not to be successful. Right? Everything was against him, but he didn't quit. He wanted to rise up. He wanted to get out of that life that he had and create something new for himself. So he took a job as an assistant in a medical research lab, and he was earning $8,000 a year. He got a girlfriend, he had a son, and he found out that, you know what, $8,000 a year, that's not enough to survive. But he didn't know what else to do. He was struggling because he had no education, no savings, nobody told him what to do. He was just trying to get by, just trying to survive. But the one thing he knew was he wasn't going to quit. His life changed when he saw a man on the street pull up in a Ferrari, get out in a really nice suit, and he asked the man, "What do you do as a career?" And the guy told him that he was a stockbroker. And from that second, Chris Gardner wanted to become a stockbroker. The only problem was, he had no education, he had no contacts, no connections, he didn't understand stocks, he wasn't investing in stocks, he was older than most of the people who are entering into that field right now. Everything was against him, but he didn't quit. He started working with that stockbroker, just getting to know him, and found out that there were training positions at his firm. And so for the next couple months, he pushed off his job. He canceled meetings, he canceled appointments to go to these interviews to train, to learn about their training program. He racked up $1,200 in parking tickets going to the meetings. And eventually, finally, after months, he was accepted into their training program. He's all excited. Finally, I made it, right? I beat the odds. I made it. I'm into the training program. I'm sending this new course for my life. This is awesome. He shows up for work the first day, and the guy who hired him was fired. And he finds out that there's no place for him at this firm. He had put everything into it. He quit his job after learning he'd be accepted. He quit his job, shows up, and there's no job to go to. You think that's bottom, right? Like, how can things get any worse? Well, it got worse because he was arrested because he didn't pay his $1,200 in parking tickets. And the judge threw him in jail for 10 days. That's not even the worst part. He comes home and his girlfriend had moved out and took their son with her. That's the low of the low for Chris Gardner. But he still didn't quit. Where most people at that point may say, I think the universe is trying to send me a message. He didn't quit. He kept going on his dream. He found another company that had a training program. He applied. He got accepted to the training program. There was a problem though. It was unpaid. He wasn't going to make any money. He'd have to work really hard and wouldn't get paid anything. He didn't have any savings. He didn't have any rich uncles to rely on. It was only himself. And then his girlfriend comes back, drops off their son, and says, he's yours. I don't want him anymore. And he takes over full custody for his son. So he's got no money coming in. He's got this training job. He's got this son he's got to look after. And the only thing that he has is he takes a small part-time thing selling medical equipment that earns him $300 to $400 a month. That's all he has to survive. And he had to make the choice. Do I provide shelter for my son or do I give him food? And he chose food. And he bounced from shelter to church to wherever they would take them in. And he got up every morning and was one of the first people to go to the office for that training job. And was one of the last people to leave. And where most people who are doing sales calls, a great day might be 100 calls, Chris Gardner's goal was 200. Unheard of. Crazy work ethic, crazy productivity. He woke up, got to the office, pounded the calls until everything was closed, and then went back and found whatever homeless shelter would take him and his son. Where most people would have quit long time ago on their dream, Chris Gardner kept going, even though he had every single odd stacked against him. And through the perseverance, through the work ethic, he made it through. He got hired. He passed the training program. He was able to pull himself out of poverty. Then he applied that same work ethic to launching his own business. And he grew it. He eventually sold it in a multi-million-dollar exit. A lot of people feel like they have the odds stacked against them. You may feel you have the odds stacked against you. And you tell yourself, I don't have the resources, I don't have the connections, I don't have the education, I don't have the money. And you quit. Successful entrepreneurs don't quit. Even though you may have everything stacked against you, if you believe in your dream, even when it doesn't make sense, if you believe in it, then you have to keep going. Don't quit. And it may lead to a multi-million-dollar exit for you too. Oh, and that Ferrari that Chris Gardner loves so much, he ended up buying his own Ferrari, bought it from Michael Jordan, and changed the license plate to not MJ. Believe. If you guys like this video, you want to see more just like it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.
Jangan hanya dipandang, tapi harus dicoba. Sila hubungi nomor yang tertera. This peach is so yummy.